We'll go ahead and get started. Hey, everybody, welcome. This is our session where we're going to talk a little bit about how to configure the device and also give you a little demonstration of the device as well. So let's go ahead and get started. We'll jump right into the first piece. So a little bit about myself. My name's Frank Buchholz. I work on the Surface Hub team. Zahid and I actually work on the same team where we are part of the partner team. So we support our partners in selling the device with readiness and enablement and helping to drive services that they deliver. A little bit of my history. I'm part of the original Surface Hub team. So there's a picture of me right in there. So, and actually what's interesting is Christian, you're not in, but oh, you are. So yeah. Christian, we were actually, this is an interesting story where this is the #1 84-inch Surface Hub that was ever built. And I had driven Christian, where is Christian? I guess, let's see, everybody's in here. Oh, there we are, there's Christian, and there's David. And so we had come in, and we were just taking a tour of the factory down in Wilsonville, Oregon, where this device is made. And they were like, hey, we just happened to be rolling off the first device off the floor. That's a pretty historic moment for us. It was it was a little emotional even because it's been a long journey to get this device out. And so this is the team that actually both engineers the device. So if you came to some of our sessions, you may have seen Peter Oler and some other folks that are part of this team. And so it was a great day to finally get that first Surface Hub off the production floor where we manufacture it down in Wilsonville, Oregon. I'm part of the original Perceptive Pixel team as well. So Microsoft, a little over 4 years ago, acquired a company by the name of Perceptive Pixel. It was the origins of where this device came from, and all these engineers and manufacturing people, many of them came from Perceptive Pixel as well. And so at that time, we were primarily selling to defense and intelligence and broadcast. So 2008 and 2012 elections, John King on his big magic board. And in fact, if you watch CNN today, that's still a Perceptive Pixel device that he's using on there. He hasn't upgraded to the Surface Hub yet. I guess that he wasn't willing to risk it for this election period. But within that, that's where we essentially came from. And a little bit about my background, I used to work for Silicon Graphics for quite a long time before coming over to Microsoft. So essentially I went from a Linux supercomputing company to Microsoft. That's a little bit of a change, but happy to be here and really proud of this product right here towards that. So.
Okay, thanks, Frank. So my name is Zahid Saeed. I'm a technology strategist. I came from Skype for Business team, and I put like a couple of countries, Pakistan. So I am born and raised in Pakistan. Then I went to Germany. I lived there for 6 years, so I can speak German. Anybody here from Germany other than Christian? I know. Okay. And then I moved to Canada. I lived there for 7, 8 years. Now I am working in US.
Can you speak Canadian?
I speak English. I don't speak French, by the way. And here you see my son, like Dayan and Hadia. We were in Dubai. So the next plan is to maybe work there for a couple of years. Let's see what happens there. I have about 15 years of experience in unified communications. Came from Cisco background. Like 10 years ago, I was working all with telepresence and all of that. So it was a fun to join Skype for Business team. I am a certified Link Masters. Anybody Link Masters here? Okay, excellent. Anybody from Cisco? No. Okay. So yeah, as Frank said, I'm part of the partner team. So Frank, go ahead. Yeah.
All right. Let's go ahead and get rolling. We're going to learn a few things, but before we do that, I wanted to get kind of a feel for the room. So I'm interested, how many people currently own or have ordered a Surface Hub in this room? So a good number of people. And then the other folks here thinking about it, I suppose, and thinking about ordering the device. So that's great to see. So we definitely, that factory was essentially, we were rolling things out a little slow just to make sure we got it all right. But we're at full production now, and so those units that you have on order or thinking about ordering are very close to being able to hit kind of a major stream so that you can get a very short backlog on that. The devices are available now. In fact, we have resellers in both Europe and the United States that are selling devices and have them in stock today. So please reach out to them. In fact, one in fact is Aero SI in the United States will sell. They have stock today on these devices. Towards that, I guess the other question I'm interested in is is this your last session at Ignite? So, and for all those, Zahid and I are very sensitive. How many people need to leave early to get to the airport? So when I watch you walk out of here, I won't be like, oh my God, why are they leaving? So, but no, it's quite all right because we understand that there's some long lines at Hartsfield International. So, all right, so let's talk a little bit about what we're about to do today. So we want to learn how to easily deploy the Surface Hub. It is an easy process if you kind of go through the training and understand the tools that we have to deliver to you. We'll give you some tips on how to scale from one to many. And if you attended the previous session, and that's another show of hands, how many people attended the previous session on this? So that was a great session where Christian and David went through essentially how to configure the device in order to scale it with actually a capsule module in order to deploy it in mass. The other piece we'll cover is we'll find out how to standardize on this Surface platform, and also the kind of the feel between what the Surface product line kind of has to offer. And then we'll go through some scripts and an admin guide in how to troubleshoot the device. So let's go ahead and get right into it. So a little bit of overview, and I'm going to try to run through this pretty quickly. I guess the other question would be, who has not seen a demonstration of the Microsoft Surface Hub? So that's good, because this is going to be a very short demonstration of the hub. But towards that, I'm hoping that you took the time to see them on the floor or have them yourselves. So, but between that, you understand that the device is not just the hardware. So it's this great pen and touch experience, 120-inch or 20 hertz Pro Cap. It integrates Windows 10 and this Team Edition that allows you to walk up and use the device, so you don't have to authenticate in order to use the device. But then has integrated Skype for Business, OneNote, and Office on the device as well, and then applications. And if you watched the keynote, I thought a very interesting one was when Youssef did the keynote, and he walked up to the Surface Hub and he showed an application like Stormboard, where he actually tapped an NFC card right up to the device and was able to log in and bring up all his environment within this application, a cloud-based application. Those are the types of powerful group collaboration applications that we're looking to drive forward with. So towards that, we also talk about this integrated capability where it's not only just this one big device that is an all-in-one, but it has this whiteboarding capability that's based on OneNote. It has audio and video conferencing, which is based off of Skype for Business. And then applications. All the applications that run on this device natively are Windows 10 universal applications that you get from the store or from your business store. But if you have a device like the Surface Pro 4 there that's running, say, a legacy 32-bit application or a large line of business application, you can cast from that device to this device, and that gets you into the projection piece, but have bidirectional input back and forth. The other piece would be it's cross-platform solution, which means that what works on that Surface Pro 4 or that Lumina 950 XL phone sitting there will run on this device as well if it's all Windows 10 universal. And then it's best-in-class hardware. We talk about this idea that there's a reason why Microsoft bought Perceptive Pixel was just because what we take is this best-in-class pen and touch environment that is used in defense and intelligence and broadcast, where time and accuracy and latency, the lowest possible, really matters. And so what they don't want to do on broadcast is be embarrassed by lag and performance or other pieces. So we don't put cameras in the corners. We don't put IR overlays. We optically bond this. That means we use kind of a clear glue, essentially. We bond the sensor to the LCD so you have a feel. And in fact, this is a ProCap device, but so is that phone, and so is that Surface, and so is your iPhone or Galaxy or other phones or iPads that you carry. So the experience is the same as you move from one smaller device to these larger devices. All right, so we talk a little bit about the overview of the device. We really covered that it's an all-in-one device, but we can point out that we take this microphone array that is really powerful it's a beam shaping algorithm towards the active speaker in the room. And so it'll do echo canceling out to about 30 feet of all the other speakers, but it'll focus in on who is speaking it at the individual time towards the loudest voice. We use these wide-angled cameras that have 100-degree field of view, so if you pull your hands back where you can't see your hands anymore, that's about 100 degrees. And so what we see here is this ability where we can't, the camera's out at about a 30-degree angle, and the cameras will switch back and forth based on the eye gaze of the active speaker. So right now, if I'm looking at this particular camera right there, that camera will pick me up, but if I turn to face the screen here, this camera will pick me up based on how that works. Sophisticated pieces, but Microsoft not new to the unified communication game. Essentially, we've taken this technology that we had built the roundtable technology and then sold that IP to Polycom, but the same engineers that designed this technology also built that roundtable technology as well. So all of this integrated capabilities all in one device, so you're able to manage that. Real quick, this is a kind of an AV chart, but it'd be essentially showing that we have a lot of input capability onto the device. And I won't run through every single one of them, but going across the board from power to being able to bring USB 3.0 in, gigabit Ethernet. The one to point out specifically would be you can drive a serial cable into this device as well. And what that will allow you to do is that'll allow you to hook up to either an AMX or a Crestron controller along that line, and then allow you to actually control the device from a desktop over over serial commands over RS-232 and ASCII level commands that are sent through that line. We send a DisplayPort out and video or audio out, which is exactly how we're displaying up onto these large screens right here, and then you have the ability to bring USB in. The other capability would be is if I wanted to, I could actually send wired commands from that Surface Pro 4 into here, so I can hook my Surface Pro 4 into here and run it into the HDMI and then run touchback over this USB. Now this USB is pretty special because it runs an HID. And the reason that that HID is special is because that HID is actually built into that USB interface. So when you hook up, say, a any Windows 10 device, Windows 8 device, or even an Apple device or a Linux device, these touch commands will come back into the device here. So this could be anything you want. This could be a Mac even. And the touch commands will actually react back, almost like on a Mac, it'll be like a mouse control or a mouse touch, but on this device, it'll be just like touch towards that. So let me come back to my slide. So the power there is that those HID, that human interface device driver, is already built into the devices that you're hooking up to here. So you don't have to load an extra driver in order to control the device. And then here we have our video that's coming down off of the other device back down into here. So you have this full inkback, touchback capability towards that. You can bring in either VGA, HDMI, or DisplayPort into the device. Now we also have this this reserved area where normally it's actually crossed out. It has a little blanking panel over it so it doesn't confuse you. But if you hit this little switch right here, it'll actually turn off the onboard computer and allow you to run an additional PC into the device so that you can run graphics, and then you have the USB for two of them. One actually channels straight into here to give you more USB access, and then this one actually goes out to the cameras and out to the microphone and then out to the speaker as well. So the power is that if you actually turned off the onboard computer and you just wanted to run Windows 10 desktop on this device, or even 8 or another operating system, you could turn off this switch. It'll turn off the onboard computer, and now you have all this capability, and you still have access to the camera, speakers, microphones, all those other powers. So pretty cool, I think, towards that. And those are some of we took that into consideration when we designed it, so we knew that some people wouldn't want to adopt, especially in government and federal facilities and other places where they may not want to be running this operating system that we're about to talk about on the device. All right. So let's go ahead and do a very quick demo of the device. So I'm actually going to come out of here, and I'm going to hit I'm done. And so the device itself is meant to be walked up to in order to be used. We want to bring digital technology into the meeting space. So we want to have whiteboards that you don't have to take pictures of. We want to be able to connect to the device either wired or wirelessly. And then we want to be able to come into Skype for Business very easy. One touch to join, like joining this meeting right here. I don't have to memorize PIN codes or passwords or phone numbers. I just have to tap the meeting and it joins automatically. The piece that would be interesting too is that the device is a Windows 10 device, so all I have to do is hit the Windows button and I can get a list of all the Windows 10 applications that are already loaded onto the device. The device itself is pretty unique in that when I take the pen off the device, it'll launch into a whiteboard, and you'll notice how fast and fluid it is. The interesting thing here too is that, does anybody notice what I'm doing that might be different from your Surface Hub? Does anybody in the room see what I just did that might be unique? Yeah, they work together. So they have literally simultaneous pen and touch. Windows 10 in the past, before the anniversary update, and by the way, what you're seeing in this room is you're seeing a Surface Hub actually running the new Windows 10 anniversary update, or what we call Redstone 1. Now, what was unique here that we just did is that in the past, you couldn't touch the device and write on the device simultaneously. You couldn't do that on your Surface either. But now, and the reason was, is the rule in Windows 10 in the previous version was as soon as you made a touchdown with your pen, it turned off touch. Well, now we have Windows 10 inking, and that has been pushed onto here. That's really powerful in an application where you want to rotate an object and draw on it at the same time. And so now I can actually grab the screen and move it around, but draw on the screen at the same time. Is that pretty cool? I mean, am I just a geek to think that that's not cool?
That's good.
So that is very cool, I think. So the other thing that's interesting, of course, is that each pen is unique. So Zahid could grab a pen here. Why don't you grab a pen? And then I'll grab a pen, and we can, each write on the device at the same time. I could manipulate the screen while we're writing on it, and we can do lots of different things. But you'll notice that my pen stays green, his is purple, and we can work on it simultaneously like we would a whiteboard. So the other piece would be is that when I want to, I can come into the device and do a couple cool things as well. So I could make a phone call, and I could actually search for somebody, and I could search for somebody in the corporate directory and pull them in and share the screen with them, or I could join a scheduled meeting. And so when you touch a scheduled meeting, you just one touch to join. It automatically joins that call. It turns on the cameras, turns on the microphones, and prepares itself to join the meeting. So in this case, it looks like nobody has joined the call, but we could simply walk in from another device. So we've covered this whiteboarding experience as well as the video teleconferencing experience. The last one I always like to show is if I was to walk up to my Surface Pro 4 here, I could see if hello works. And live, there it goes. It actually worked. It worked. And so what I can do is I can do a Windows K to the device, and I look for a friendly name, and that's Surface Hub ICD. And so I'm going to tap that and actually place this device down on the screen here. And so now I've actually cast up onto this device, and what I can quickly do is now I have full touch control from that device to this device. So I could easily come in, say, hey, I want to run this PowerPoint that I'm actually presenting here at Ignite, and come up to my demo slide, but actually more come into here and go full screen, and then be able to talk about how we manage the device. So that was a really quick demonstration of the device. Know that also when I'm done with the device, I hit I'm done, and the device will clean itself of all the content from the previous session. Anything that I typed in, whether it be username and passwords for OneDrive, whether that's logging into PowerPoint over Office 365 and bringing in content, if I created any content or logged into anything, it's all wiped away. The last thing to show real quick before we jump back into this slide would be is if I go back to my whiteboard and then I hit the email button, it will actually now send content to the meeting organizer as well as all the invitees to the meeting, and then they'll get a copy of the whiteboard that we just created as a OneNote file as well as a PNG file, which is the picture file on the device. So. Was there a question?
Yeah, I think it's not projecting on the other side, so I don't know why. Maybe once you project it from there to here, it's not projecting.
Oh, okay. We'll maybe once I stop projecting, it'll turn that off. Maybe we've discovered a bug that we should probably document. So so towards that, I'll come back to that. So But the power, again, being that, you know, it actually captures the content, who organized the meeting that I just joined, and I'm able to do that. The other unique thing to point out, and for those that didn't attend the past session, is the device now comes by default with OneDrive installed. So instead of saving this to an email, I could actually save it to OneNote. And then what I could do is if I came back in on a different Surface Hub, or I had to continue the meeting in another room with another Surface Hub, or had to come back to this one later, I could go in to the device itself, bring up an application here, and then go straight into OneDrive, and then populate that whiteboard back onto this device. So it makes it a truly mobile whiteboard from device to device, or I could just manipulate it on another device along that line. All right, so let's come back here and talk a little bit about the management of the device, which Christian and David did really well in the previous session, but just as an overview, the device is centrally integrated. So essentially, the thing we'll lead into here, and this is kind of the bulk and the real tech meaty stuff that Zahid's going to go into from here, is that the device needs an Exchange resource account. So for those, I imagine everybody out there understands what that means, but for the layman, it would be that it's much like the room that you have in your so that actually worked.
It comes from.
Oh, thank you. So now you're on that one. Oh, good job. You solved the technical problem for us. So the device resource account is much like any room in your enterprise. So as you schedule that room, you send a meeting invite to the room. That room has an actual ID. It has an ID within your Exchange server, and so essentially has a mailbox, like an email address, as well as a calendar. Well, what we do is we SIP enable that resource account with Skype for Business. And so now that has not only a mailbox and a calendar, but it also has a phone number. In the beginning, it'll just have a SIP address, but if you want to enroll it into, say, an E5 tenant, voice in the cloud, it'll also have a phone number like a PSTN phone number. The device is managed just like a Windows 10 device. So in this case, you can go in and manage the device through Windows and Windows Update or WSUS. So as new updates are pushed onto the device or into Windows Update, you'll get them on here. You'll essentially almost get a nightly Defender update, as well as updates on a monthly basis towards the operating system. And then soon, within the next few weeks, you'll get your Windows 10 anniversary update onto your device based on your maintenance window that you have scheduled or set within settings on the device. The other piece would be is the device can be managed through an MDM like Microsoft Intune, or a third-party MDM like AirWatch or Mobile Iron or other ones that are out there. And so the power there is you can manage the device settings and policies through that mechanism. You can also manage your inventory because you could say, I want to manage this ring of Surface Hubs in this way, like early adopters, but everybody else in an other way, so you can actually change the update policies towards how updates are pushed to different rings of devices. And then you can also handle app installation through the devices as well. So you can take apps out of the store and actually push them down onto your Surface Hubs through that one single mechanism through an MDM. All right, from there I'm going to turn that right on over to Zahid to drive it forward from here.
Thanks, Frank. So we will just switch the gears. Now we are talking more about what is required on the back end for Skype for Business. So a couple of things we need to prepare, and we have seen through the experience on the customer, like the site readiness, right? So that's the key. When we ship the hub, we want to make sure the elevator, if it's going with the 84-inch, want to make sure elevator is capable if it's going upstairs, if they want to hang on the wall. So the wall is there. So we have clear guidelines written on the admin guide, which Christian showed, that what should be the height. When you want to hang it, either 55 or 84 should be there. The other is the network assessment, right? So if we are talking about multiple locations, if you have a hub on one location, then we have to make sure that we are doing network assessment. Enough bandwidth is there, QoS is there, so all of these modalities are there. If you're coming from Skype for Business background, then there is a no-brainer, right? But you will see no facilities involved and other teams are there. So maybe it's pretty new for them, so we want to make sure we do that. So Skype for Business and Exchange configuration is required for that. What Frank just showed you, single-click, join a meeting, and you can email the whiteboard and all of that. This will not come out of the box. You will get the hub, you will plug it in, you can do whiteboard, you can do apps, but all of these things required on the background, the configuration for that, and I will go through all of it today. the MDM, which Frank showed, the operations, how you can do it, licensing, right? So that's another tricky part. And we get a lot of questions about licensing. Do we need a license for the hub? How it will work? So the best answer is engage your Microsoft team, but definitely you need a license for that. Again, depends whether you want to do a PSTN call or want to do what. So it's E3 or E5. It depends what your needs are, but you definitely need a license. The client comes with it. It has Windows, but if we're talking about the device license, so we require it, engage your Microsoft team because every customer has a different enterprise agreement, and it depends what they have, what they don't have. So this is the unique category device, right? So you have different teams involved, like networking, AD, Exchange, UC, Skype, right? So that is one side. I put all of these. On the right-hand side, if you look at, now we are engaged with the facility. Before, they were just doing maybe whiteboarding and all of that. Now you have built in there, so we want to engage facility. The security is another thing which we have seen in the field a lot. Now you get a whiteboard, but now you want to email it, right? Now they will ask you, okay, you are emailing it, it's a device account, what should we do here? And engage the security team in the beginning. When we start the discussion with the customer, only with the one team, they said, okay, we want to get 100 hubs, right? And they get one, and then when they engage the other teams down the road, and then they feel, okay, we need to do a deep dive with security, we need to check about the telecom. So what we do, and at Microsoft is, I normally ask the customer and the partner which I am working, let's get the customer in the Microsoft Technology Center, and we will do a demo maybe for half an hour, but the next time we can use the remaining time for the design session, right? Let's go through all the requirements what they have for the security, engage their security team, networking team, telecom, all of them, bring into the MTC, and we can go through all the requirements in one shot, rather than having get the sales date, so this is all possible.
The one piece I would add to that is from personal experience of dealing with this is that what we find is that, you know, there, for example, a particular coffee company in Seattle had this issue where when we were trying to integrate it, we found that we really couldn't integrate it until we had the right people in the room. We had to have the Skype for Business person in the room in order to create the account. And in their particular environment, they run Skype for Business on-prem, but they run Exchange in the cloud through Office 365. So obviously there's some interesting ActiveSync and other policy pieces that are taking place. So he will cover all of that. But know that, you know, in order to generate this device account, sometimes when we say you have to have the right person in the room, it really does take that right team member, whether it's a network security issue or an Exchange issue or a Skype for Business issue, having those different pieces really helps towards that. Nothing is that complicated, but sometimes you find that that one person, as you know in the IT world, only has that access to make that change, to make that one little thing that's stopping it from working work. So.
Right, no, absolutely. So about the architecture, I think who were present here in the last session, Christian and David showed that slide, just a little perspective. So it's integrated with the full ecosystem from the Microsoft, right? So the accounts will be in the AD, and then you will go to the Skype for Business, Exchange. So all of these are combination of that. And the out-of-box experience, you saw that in the previous, I will not go into detail. So one thing and the one question which we get a lot from the customer is, domain joined or not domain joined, right? So this is one thing you will see a lot. So I personally recommend to go with the domain join because the BitLocker key, you can save it, which Christian said in the last section, plus the certificate, right? Especially in the on-prem environment. So if once you do the hub install and then you need a certificate, so if you're joined to a domain, you will get that automatically. So these are the two reasons normally I say go with that. But again, unique environment, every customer has different, and it's go through that. But I will prefer to go to the domain join.
Know that the one thing that you don't get from domain joining is you don't get group policy pushed down
GPOs,
onto the device.
Yeah.
That's where you would bring in the MDM component and actually manage the policy on the device. But you do get those admin controls and certs as well as BitLocker key saving. And the other thing we learned is you also get timekeeper off the domain controller if you join it to the domain. So.
Yeah. And these are all the scenarios which you see which is required, right? If we have Skype for Business and Exchange configured, then all of these will work. Single join-in, you can share the screen, and if you're doing the whiteboarding, if you want to email, all of that. So this will only work when you have Skype for Business and Exchange properly set on the back end. So these are all the scenarios, and I will go through the demo too. The other is the deployment option. So I like this slide a lot because you get a lot of questions from the customers all the time. What is supported, what is not supported in the Skype for Business world. So you can go with the online if it's Office 365. You have Exchange there. You have Skype for Business Online. Absolutely, it's cloud ready. It will work there. And then if you have on-prem, Link Server 2013, Skype for Business, all of that, it will work. Sometimes we get the questions, why not on Link Server 2010? So as you know, like it's a VGA, we don't have multi-party video and all and 1080p kind of stuff. So we strongly recommend to go with 2013 and Skype for Business there. Then you can also have a hybrid environment. If it is there, split domain, it will work. The supported platform I just highlighted for you here is 2013, as I was saying, Exchange and Office 365. So it supported all of this. I highly recommend to have this slide if you are either as a customer reviewing your environment, or if you are a partner talking to the customer. It will help you to make sure that everything is validated on that. So the other is creating the account, right? So we discussed we need Skype for Business and Exchange accounts as part of it, right? So this is a nice flow chart that explains you what is required. So normally, maybe you already have a Conference account created for that you can use if you like. And then you enable it for the mailbox, and then you assign the policy on that, then you configure for a calendar. So one thing in Surface Hub you will see is that if you send an invite to Hub, it automatically accept or reject that. For example, if I book the Hub from 2 to 3, then it will accept. But if somebody else same time is sending an invite for 2 to 3, it will reject that. So this is done in the configuration. I will show you. So we have to configure these parameters there. The password setting normally do not expire. We will discuss that. Then you have to enable account for Skype for Business, and you have to assign a license. That's what I was talking in the beginning when I showed the slide for the licensing, that you need a license. So you have to assign the license as part of it. If you don't do that, again, it will not work.
Yeah, I think the interesting thing here is that the license that you're assigning is a Skype for Business license. Because it's a resource account, it does not use an Exchange license. It actually you get those for free. But what you're assigning here is a different level of Skype for Business connectivity that you want. Do you want just SIP address so that you could look somebody up in your corporate directory and call them? Or do you want PSTN dialing with this voice in the cloud? So those are the different levels of E5, E3, different pieces that you would actually configure on the device. Right,
and I will just say, like, if you want to even register on the Skype for Business server, then you do need a license, right? So the client is free, which Frank mentioned, but if you want to register there, doesn't matter what level you go, then you will need a license there. So here I just going to demo now what we created a script. You are more than welcome to use it. Everybody, it's available on the web. Rather than manually entering the commands there, you can run it. I will run it now. Hopefully it will take less time. Let's see. Normally like 10 minutes. And let's pray for the demo. It works fine. So here I have is always run as administrator. It will follow the flow chart, which I said, like create the account and assign the license and enable all of that. Okay.
So know that while this is starting to run,
yeah,
that you can download this script off of the admin guide. So if you just type in Surface Hub admin guide, it'll take you out to TechPubs or TechNet, and then be able to obtain them. It's down in the appendix. And so you'll find a series of PowerShell scripts for both creating an Office 365 account, an on-prem account, as well as running a verification script that says, did I create my account correctly? So there's scripts out there, and they're PowerShell scripts, so you can actually tear them apart and look at them. And if you didn't want to run the script, you could just steal the code that's within the script.
So here is the script which we have. So I will go with the Office 365. I created a trial tenant here. So I will just run this. I say, OK, run. It will say, are you sure you want to run? Yes, it's my computer. I am OK. So now it's asking the UPN, right? It's asking you the username which you want to create on Skype for Business. So I will put Ignite 6 at, this is my domain name there. This is the password.
And the password you're entering is the password you're creating for that account.
So this is all like new, brand new. It will create one for you. I just give it like a display name, which Frank was mentioning here. No, it's asking your credentials for your Skype for Business, right? Where you have your tenant, Office 365 there, so it's doing that. So I am entering my admin here. By the way, did recording, in case something happened to the connectivity, we have that. Okay, so now it's trying to connect. It takes 1 to 2 minutes there. So in that time, one thing, anybody knows why I put Ignite 6? Not 1, 2, 3, 4, 5? Because when I came, one day I created 1, 2, 3 accounts. So 5 were created successfully. Hopefully this is the 6th one. It will go fine. So it's connecting there. Now you see it was even faster. Then now it's creating that. It connected with Office 365. It verified the credentials. Okay, I can accept it. Now it's working there. And this is the same flow chart which we were talking about. Create the Skype for Business account, exchange, and assign the license. Once we run the validation, as Frank said, you will see the validation, and it will tell you step by step what is required that. So normally, I use this when we have a customer, they have a hub brand new, and even sometimes they have Skype for Business, sometimes they don't have Skype for Business, right? So this is the best way created. It's free. Go to the website and sign for a trial tenant. And then on that tenant, you can create it. I think it's 30 days, it's free. Then normally it says it will expire. It doesn't expire, by the way. It's a secret, so it takes 30 days more. So you can have up to like 60 days with this tenant. So far it's going fine. Don't worry about it's a little bit delay. But I think it will take maybe 30 to 40 seconds in that.
Now, some people have given us feedback that wouldn't it be nice within the Office 365 admin panel to actually click on Create a Surface Hub account? Who would think that's a good thing? So, trying to get that feedback. Nydia is going to collect that and give that back to the engineers. But we personally, I think everybody on the Surface Hub team is a big fan of that idea. For those that are not used to using PowerShell. But I guess for those that are admins out there,
yeah, no, I have it. So just you see this error message here, don't get worried on that. So what it is saying is actually that it cannot sync in real time the account which we created. It will take 15 minutes, but it should be fine in 1 to 2 minutes. So this is the error message you get normally. Okay, syncing will take some time. And the mailbox has been created for this room. Now it's asking the policy, right? So we need to assign a policy for this. So it's asking if I have an existing policy already there, or I need to assign. I will just say I want to assign a new one. So I just say Ignite 6 again, a new policy. Now it will say, okay, I am creating a device policy for you as part of this script. So the good thing is, like, when it is doing all of these things, and then at the end I will show you, we can test whatever we created, even through the script or even through the link store app. So when it works here, the chances are, especially in the online environment, it should work there. For the on-prem environment, we will talk about there are some challenges with the certificate if it's not there. So it might not work. Now you see here, now it's saying device policy has been created. I am now talking about the calendar processing, which we said it should automatically accept and reject. So it's doing all of that kind of stuff. And it's also trying to enable account for Skype for Business. Sometime it enables, sometime it will say you have to run another script. Let's see what it does. Okay, so here it says enter the location if you're in US. I will say yes, I am in US. What is the, the SKU ID, number 1 here. Okay.
So that's where he actually assigned the license, because it said that he had up to 25 licenses and he had only consumed 5. So there you're going to consume another license, another Skype for Business license within that tenant and apply it onto this device.
So here you see, you get the error that Skype for Business account is not enabled, right? And there was a sync issue. Don't worry, we have here another thing here. If you go here, if it's like takes some time, we have a enable Skype for Business script here. We click on that. It's again gonna say, are you sure I wanna run? No, it's asking me, is the account you wish to enable is part of the online environment? Press O. Do not press 0. So here you go. It's asking UPN, right? The same which we mentioned, Ignite 6. So we have to do here, Ignite 6 at Ashburn. By the way, do you guys know what is Ashburn? Yeah, here you go. So I am from Ashburn, Virginia. So I just put my city name there.
Just a few data centers out there.
Yeah. Okay, there is no typo. No, it's asking again my credentials. It's making sure that nobody else is doing that. Okay, it's gonna again connect to the Office 365. It will validate your credentials, so that's what it is doing here. Now it says successfully created. No account is created. Now the sync issue is also resolved and it is enabled. The other thing which we have, it will gives you a visibility. It's again up to you if you wanna run it or no, but it gives you good information. So that is how, if you want to validate your account, what happened overall. So it's a validation script. It will tell you the license was installed, account was enabled, and everything was done properly. So I just run this one. It's asking me what is the email address of the account you wish to validate. It's the same UPN which I have, Ignite 6 at ashburn2.onmicrosoft.com. Okay, what is your Exchange server? For online, you can leave it blank. I am using Office 365. I just leave it blank. Now it's asking me again my credentials. Skype Business Register pool, leave blank for the online tenant, fine. No here. So it's again no connecting. No, it will say it will run all the tests, which you have to do manually through the commands. So it's running all the tests, and you will see one by one. It will verify all the flow chart which we did. So far connecting. Okay, the mailbox was created, it's passed. Now it's here, I can auto accept and reject the calendar there. License was assigned on it, and the online account is created. So all of this thing, it validated there, right? So rather than typing the commands, you can do it. The other test is in the Surface Hub, right? So it uses the link store app kind of thing here. So it doesn't use like the full Skype for Business client, which we have. So even you can test it whether it signs or no on the link store app. If it signs, as I said, on the online version, it should sign on the hub too. For the on-prem, we will look at the troubleshooting, what is done. So here, every Windows 10, hopefully, they don't deprecate it. So we will have a link store app here. This is the link store app. Whatever you created, now you can test it. I used Ignite 4 here, Ignite rather than Ignite 6. The reason for that is it takes some time. So give it like 10 to 15 minutes. If you just want to test exact account which we just created, give it like 10 minutes, and then it will be able to sign. And once you see it here, let's see if it comes back. Because this one I created yesterday. Yeah. Spinning wheel.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's see. It's asked me to Ignite 4. Yes, it's 2.
Yeah, and the reason that
Here you go.
the reason that we picked this app
Yeah.
is, as we stated, this app mimics the closest experience of what the Surface Hub offers, is how it authenticates itself and how it goes to the different link servers in order to communicate. So this is a great thing to run if you don't have your Surface Hub yet, to download this application on any Windows device and actually run it and verify that account.
So now it's signed, right? So now you can see it will work on the hub. So rather than showing up on the customer side, or if you're doing it, make sure we create the accounts, test it, everything, and then when we go on site, then everything is working, right? Do not need to show up there if we haven't done all of that. It will be just wastage of time. So let's go back now. This is the real world, right? If everything happens fine, we are happy. But in IT, it's rare, right? That everything is there and account is there. So we might go to the environment when we feel like there are some challenges. And so I will go through some of the requirements which we have seen in the field, the troubleshooting steps, and how we can fix it, right? As Frank was mentioning, like Link Store app is the best way to enter your credentials and test it before going there. The other tool, again, if you're coming from Skype for Business, Link Connectivity Analyzer is not like a brainer for you. Maybe you're already using it. Another, your good friend is Snooper here. If you watch the cartoon, that is also good. So these are the two things you will see there. So here, once we want to test anything, if we feel we want to test the account is not working, maybe we did everything right, we configure the accounts, we run the script, and still, it's not able to sign in there. So then we have to run the Link Connectivity Analyzer. You can, again, download it on your computer, and here you can see in detail what's happened, right? And just to make sure that we have there in the network access, we say external, right? You are on the network, and then you are selecting Link Store app. These are the two key things we want to make sure when you test it, because you created the account. Let's say it's not working. Now we will run the test on it. And here is the username, which you see where it says SIP URI there. So you enter like Ignite 6, which you created for some reason it's not working. It will show you all the details there. And even you run it, there are something, it will give you maybe message that unsecured channels is maybe failed. Don't worry about that, because we are just testing HTTPS, not testing HTTP there. So these are expected errors. And this is the screenshot which I showed you before, right? Let me go here now a little bit. So Christian talked about that a little bit here. Just a refresher who were not there in the first course. So when we are doing the online Office 365, once we are creating for the users, then we put the full UPN, right? We put the username, domain, and all of that. So that's how we sign in to the Skype for Business. In the Surface Hub using the Skype for Business account. So this is the only option you have there for the online. So make sure if we are signing into Office 365, our tenant is there, we are creating Skype for Business Exchange, then we use the full UPN for that. And if we have hybrid and on-prem environment, then everything is fine. Then you can have domain name / username, and then you can enter your password. So I have seen that mistake a lot happen. Sometimes you are on the online tenant, but still you are saying domain name / this and all of that. That doesn't work, right? So this is important to remember. So even let's say you did it, but still you feel it's not working, it's not connecting. I have configured properly accounts and everything, and we assume that you did all things right. So one thing it has to do is it has to check the AD all the time, right? So it has to make sure, because it's signing on to the AD and it's there. And again, if there is a firewall somewhere blocking it, you will not be able to connect that. If it's a typo, there is also a possibility you cannot do, and maybe it's not able to resolve the DNS, and it's not the fully FQDN there. So we want to make sure we are checking it there. And you can, by the way, you can skip this step, right? If you like, you can skip it, and we will talk about what is important. If you skip it, then maybe you need to rerun the OB, but that is the domain join portion. So if you go to the Exchange side here, right, then you see, okay, I did it fine, and I entered the UPN or domain / username. Still, it's not going anywhere. So I have the hub, I run the UBI, and it's not doing that. So still, so the possibilities here are maybe it's the auto discover service which we have. It's not able to find the exchange. There are a couple of reasons. We will talk about that. But you can skip this step, by the way. You can skip it. It says here somewhere, yeah, it says that you can skip it. All of that, and you can come back, right? If something happens, if you feel the accounts were right and certificates, you just skip it and go to the next step. So what could be the reason possible, right? So most of the time we have seen the certificate issue, right? Especially in the on-prem environment, right? If there is if it's an on-prem environment, the certificate is not already there. I think as we were talking in the beginning, when it's not the domain joined, you don't have the certificate properly there, then you have to maybe install the certificate, which Christian and David showed in the beginning how to upload the certificate using the ICD. I will not go into detail, but just remember these are could be the certificate issues there, right? And this is the step, the next. Where you go and there you feel, okay, you have three options, right, to sign on to the UBI, out-of-box experience. It could be AD, it could be local, or it could be AD service. So remember here, if you skip this portion, then you have to rerun the UBI. This is the only option you have for the domain join, if you want to do there, right? So here you are setting admins, and maybe still you're not able to sign in. Can anybody tell what's the mistake here? Why it's not able to sign in? Typo, here you go. So you see like corp, instead of corp, it's COPR. So that's why it doesn't matter whatever you're doing, it's gonna come back, it will gives you the error. It tells you actually what is the error, right? If you look into that, it explains you unable to retrieve and check, make sure you have typed correctly, and all of this stuff is there. So just for the device setup, just to recap, what we did in the device setup is we want to make sure did you have a proper connection with the Active Directory, the network is there, DSCP settings are working, and internal certs are installed there. And just you always remember if you're joining the domain or not joining the domain in the UBI. So that's the only thing you have. Once you pass that, then you have to rerun the UBI for those three options we have. Okay, now another which we have seen a lot is okay, you did all of that, but still it is not signing in. Maybe we are having a bad day, and like they're working there, but we maybe got all the problems today. Even like especially when you do our lab. If anyone has checked it, so we put all of these troubles there. So once you fix it, most of the time, once you're working with the customer, you will be happy, and you will remember the time. Okay, we did the lab. We know all of these things. So I will encourage you to do the labs. So three things are possible when you see this spinning wheel. It's not signing in the Link Store app. So one is the certificate trust, right? Run the connectivity analyzer. And then see what is there. So if you, I don't know if you can see there. I think yeah. So here is the option. Here you say internal authorization broker service. So you copy this URL, go to the Surface Hub on the Edge browser, and then type this there, right? And once you do that, and if you get this error, there is a problem with this website certificate, you will feel the certificate is missing, right? So this is a trust issue there, and we need to have. Then you need to add the trusted root certificate. The reason, to be honest, we are not covering how to add the certificate into this because it's already covered in the previous section. And if you want to listen to the recording, it's step by step there that how you can upload the certificates there. And once you have gone through that, then you again enter the URL there now, and now you will see this, some kind of XML thing. That's fine, don't worry about, don't need to understand all of that, but it means now the certificate issue is resolved and you are fine, you see a lock there. Now we have at least done the one step. Okay, certificate trust is resolved, but still it's not signing in. Again, we don't know, maybe we have multiple problems here. in the environment. That one is known the trust model, right? So you know, in the Skype for Business, it's it's very, very secured environment, and we want to make sure every server or client who is registered or who is communicating with the Skype for Business server, it is valid. It has a valid credentials. It has a certificate there. So this error, when you see here, so it means there is a trust model issue between the client and the Skype for Business. Maybe there's a difference what you are using as a username and the Skype server name. If these two things are different, again, you will get a trust model issue. And then we can solve it. Just remember this error. If this is the error, then what we do is two ways to find it. Either go through the link connectivity analyzer. You will get more details there. And it will tells you exactly on the internal side, if you look there in the internal access, look, the URL which you have is different. It is different from your SIP URI which you are setting. So it means it's not trusting. And it happens, to be honest, very, very common. I have customers in Virginia area, and that was the issue for them. They have two, and we have to add it manually. So once you see that issue, then it's very easy to fix it. It's always hard to diagnose the problem, but once you know the problem, it's very easy to solve it. So what you have to do is just add the domain name which we have there, the SIP there, and add it here. It might be a little bit different because I was not able to get the snapshot for the RS1 which we have, which Christian was showing. So, but this is the same mechanism. Everything you have to do, you have to add the domain there. And once you add it, then it will reboot the device. Now it will be able to trust it, right? Now it knows if the SIP URI is different than that, it will be able to sign in. Again, it's very common. We have seen with the customer. The last one, again, another problem which we see in the customer environment is the TLS DSK is not enabled. That is the issue. So in Skype for Business, normally we use three types of authentication, right? Like Kerberos, NTLM, and then the TLS DSK. And I have seen it most of the time. You know, it's enabled, but again, depending upon the customer environment, sometimes they don't want to enable it. Maybe the certificates could be used for other purposes, other applications. So they have not enabled that. So this is the control panel, by the way, in Skype for Business. And there, if you look at that, is checked as Kerberos is checked. The Windows authentication is checked, but the certificate is missing, right? So it means TLS DSK is not enabled. Remember, if TLS DSK is not enabled, it will never sign in. It will never sign in, right? Even to say, okay, what about other? So this is the one which we support today. I don't know about the future, but this you have to have enabled. The other which we're talking about, the active sync in the past, like which we run the scripts, active sync needs to be enabled. TLS DSK needs to be enabled. If they are not enabled, then it will not sign in. You can check it. One was the control panel, which I show. The other one is you can type the PowerShell command there, and it will tell you what to do. But sometimes you don't have maybe access to the control panel, right? It again depends. It's in the cloud, or I mean, again, it's you have limited access to the Skype for Business servers. You cannot do it. So the other is to check the logs, right? So you go to the hub, you collect the logs there, and in the logs you have here under Skype, you have 3 files here you can see. And when you run the snooper, through the snooper you can check. It will mention. I did not put the slide there. It will be in the appendix that you can check. It's not offered right now. So these are the 3 key points. I would say TLS DSK must be enabled, certificate issue. So once these are solved, it should be your Link Store app should be able to sign in. And these are the advanced deployments. Couple of things here, right? So which we talked about the UPN for the online, what we need to do, where in the on-prem and the hybrid, the domain name / user. These look simple things, but when you are busy working at the customer side, sometimes you just forget, right? So what I do is I'll always ahead of time, I prepare it, I test everything, and then we show to the customer, then we go there and do it. And then this recap also was the SIP address may be different from UPN, right? So in that case, which we saw in one of the troubleshooting. So we just have to add that into go to the settings, system, add that step there, and you should be good to go. So just to recap what we did, right? So environments are working fine. You will see many customers will say, okay, we have Skype for Business, fine. We are able to sign in. It's only the hub issue. Hub is not, it's not signing in. So because it's a link store app, right? So it works differently, and it needs to have a certificate. It has special authentication requirement, which we talk about. So all of these, we need to prep for it very carefully before we go there. Always try to install on your laptop the link connectivity analyzer and Snooper. These two tools are your best friends. It will gives you all of these options which we saw there. And the certificates, right? So certificates, we have seen most of the time issues on the on-prem. If you go to the Office 365, you will automatically get the certificate. So you are good to go. So I haven't seen any issue there, but it's more on the on-prem. And each organization has different requirements, how they want to upload the certificate, how they want to do. So just want to make sure it's there. Okay. So I think I'm done with the troubleshooting, and hopefully if there are questions, we will take the questions. Just to the key takeaways here we have, which Frank showed, is the collaboration experience. It's a unique category, right? As I said in the beginning, I came from the Cisco background, and maybe you can have video conferencing and all of that, but this is the only device that you can do digital whiteboarding, that you can run universal apps, that you can do video conferencing. This is a unique category, and now you have access to facility, access all of those teams, and you're much broader on that. And it integrates exactly with your Microsoft environment. Most of them are already running Skype for Business, or they have Exchange, so it's just a add-on for them, and you can also manage it, as Frank mentioned. And it requires integration. It depends what the complexity is on their environment. It could be as simple as I run the script, everything works fine. In 12 minutes, you are good to go. Your hub is up and running. Christian did maybe 5 minutes, Ubi, so maybe in 20 minutes we are done. That could be a good day, and then you can go and get some coffee. But if it's not, then if we have all these issues, and then it might take a day. But if you prep ahead of time, create all of these things before looking the environment, if you do all of that, then still you are good. If you're able to sign on to Link Store app, we are fine. So yeah, that's it from my side. I know we are ready to take any questions.
Yeah, I think the last thing I would add is what Christian and David handled was a clean setup where you run through Ubi, which is the out-of-box experience. Know that, as Zahid stressed, many times you can skip over all the questions if you're having trouble getting the device up and running out of the box. The only thing you mandatorily have to enter in is just that friendly name and the device name, and also how you're going to admin the device. But if you have issues with the device account or other pieces, like you can't get it onto the network, or you can't get the certificate from Exchange or the certificate loaded, know that all you have to do is just skip over everything and then add in the admin, how you want to admin the device, whether that be through domain or Active Directory or AAD or local, and the device will come up like this. And then at that point, you can go into settings and log in as the admin and now change all those things that you were having trouble with before. So that kind of wraps it up.
Yeah. Any questions? If anybody can go to the mic, and if there are any questions, happy to.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, real quick, where can you get the provisioning scripts that you showed up?
It's on the website, and it's admin guide, even the link which you provided in the previous session, right? Yeah, so I don't know if we have it, but it's in the previous session. The link is there, or even if you want to Bing it, don't Google it, just Bing it. And and say like this Surface Hub admin, it will take you to that page, and there it's available. Yeah.
All the directions. Yeah, we've done it's a very complete admin guide that's out there. I think it's over 200 pages long, but it handles all the different types of scenarios, whether you're on-prem or hybrid or Office 365. And then it also covers MDM management, as well as covers pieces on the scripts that we talked about today. So that admin guide is a very important asset for you to be successful in deploying this device.
If I want to, if I want to feed in in-room audio, say from external ceiling mics or whatever, can I do that into the analog input or the USB input?
Yeah, that's a great question. So in the previous session, Christian actually pointed out that now within the Surface Hub, the previous version of the Surface Hub, the one that everybody's running today, the production version, does not allow that capability. But with this Redstone 1, or what we call Windows 10 Anniversary Update, that will be deployed to the Surface Hub in the coming weeks, you will now have the ability within settings to change different audio and video sources. Now know that when you do that, you turn off the onboard ones, but you're now able to add a PTZ camera or a DSP audio system from Biamp or somebody else. Into the environment.
Is it just analog or USB as well?
I believe it's over USB that you would be adding the device into the.
And will it
both.
apply
Both?
Will it apply AEC as part of that?
Will it?
Acoustic echo cancellation.
That I don't know. I would believe we'd have to. Why don't we take a question?
Yeah.
I don't know if either Christian or David know the answer to that. If you want, you can get our names and send us an email.
And the list of API commands for RS-232 integration from Crestron AMX, are they documented?
Yes, so that golden admin guide that I keep referring to, there is a module under the admin guide that actually talks about the command structure of those ASCII commands that allow you to do power, brightness, source control, and also...
Input switching?
Yeah, like input switching, correct.
Cool.
Yep. So it's all in there as to how to program that. And then also know that AMX and Crestron both have devices, and they've actually created modules that you could just use for Surface Hub. So they've already created a prepackaged module for control within AMX and Crestron systems. So. Any other questions?